Hey, my name is Jaakko Putkonen. I'm the director of Harold Ham School of Geology and Geological Engineering. Today I want to show you our home here, Lennart Hall, and point out all the laboratories in the building. So let's get moving. All right, so now we are in the basement, and many of the laboratories are located here. And we're not going to go into the laboratories today. I'm just going to point them out here in the corridor. But one thing I wanted to point out here right at the beginning is that safety is one of our top priorities here in the school. And we have two types of laboratories in general speaking. We have laboratories where we deal with chemical materials, or sort of a chemistry-based laboratories, and we have more sort of a mechanical laboratories where we do cutting and drilling and those kind of exercises. So, talking about the safety in these two types of laboratories, the chemistry type of laboratories, we do have for all the students getting into those labs, mandatory training for anybody using the labs. We require appropriate PPE, such as eye protection, lab coats, and those kind of things, gloves. We have fume hoods that are certified for chemical use, what is the particle usage in those laboratories. And we don't allow anybody to work alone in those labs. We use proper chemical storage in the labs, and we have inspected fire extinguishers, proper chemical disposal arrangements, and IO stations when appropriate. And we have the properly inspected electrical outlets and equipment. Then talking about the more sort of a mechanical type of laboratories that require the cutting and drilling type of exercises. Again, there is mandatory training for anybody using those labs, and the safety equipment is required. Personal protection equipment for everybody, lab coats, gloves, ear protection, and so forth. Nobody's allowed to work alone. IO stations, emergency shower if necessary, and properly adjusted equipment. Consumables such as blades and bits, we keep track that they are not worn too much and become dangerous. And we have a cooling and flushing water systems that are functioning properly, and inspected fire extinguishers, and also properly inspected electrical equipment. All right, so having covered the safety part in general here, I'm going to start going over the various laboratories here. Okay, so first we have here on my left, here we have a hydrology and groundwater modeling laboratory. On the right-hand side here, we have a, hold on, this is number 4, hydrology and groundwater modeling laboratory as well. Yeah, you can go by here. So basically they're more or less the same purposes, but there are two separate laboratories here. Okay, so let's move on. So the next laboratory here, let me move the wire here a bit around the pole. So next we have here the mining engineering laboratory. right here. All right, moving to the next lab. It's further down the corridor here. Okay, so here we have a geomorphology and quaternary geology laboratory. And then moving on. Next we have the sample preparation laboratory. And here we have a geothermal laboratory. All right. And here is the advanced hydrocarbon recovery laboratory. Looks like there is the safety information card right on the door. All right, so those are all the laboratories here in the basement. So next we're going to go to second floor through the stairwell here. So this is the first floor, but we will continue up to the second floor. In the first floor, we have mainly the classrooms. Let's take a short detour here. We go through these doors behind me. Okay, so let's stop here. So behind me, at the end of this skywalk, you see the new building here, back there, and continuing way out here. This is the Wilson M. Laird Core and Sample Library. This is owned by the North Dakota State Geological Survey, and it contains all the cores that are collected mainly from the eastern part of the state where the heavy oil drilling is taking place. So it's a great resource for our students working in that space. All right, so now we are in the second floor. All right, so here is sedimentology laboratory. Here is a petrology microscopy laboratory. Here we have isotope geochemistry laboratory. And here we have the mineralogy laboratory. All right, so then we go to third floor. We go to this side corridor here. And here we have what is called the EARL, Environmental Analytics Research Laboratory, Water Resources Research Lab. There are several rooms in this complex here. And the last one on the tour today is the petrophysics laboratory. And this pretty much concludes the tour of the laboratories in Lennart Hall.